Welcome to Mathew's Month. I'm Mathew Hulbert, former journalist and councillor and current charities trustee, school governor and policymaker. Well, today I want to return to an issue that I first covered in the first of these Mathew's Month videos back in January, which seems an awfully long time ago now, but it's only a few months of course, and that is the upcoming referendum on Britain's membership of the European Union. In that very first video, as some of you will no doubt remember, I talked about some of the reasons why I personally believe that we're richer, safer, greener and stronger in the EU, including working together to tackle international problems such as climate change and cross-border crime. Today I want to talk about another reason, a very domestic reason, why I'll be voting for Britain to remain a member of the EU on June 23rd. And that is our rights at work. One of the reasons I first got involved and interested in politics several years ago was to speak up for and defend our rights at work. The European Union, and you don't get to hear about this in the media and in our political discourse very often, but it's true, the EU is one of our great defenders of rights at work. The role of trade unions, of course, is to help protect our jobs, our standard of living and the public services that we all depend on. But leaving the EU would make it far harder for those trade unions to do that job in protecting us. As Unison has pointed out, the regulations unions rely on to protect us at work are enshrined in EU law and upheld by the European Court of Justice. Leaving would mean that critical rights such as paid holiday, fair working hours, equal rights for part-time workers and maternity and paternity leave would no longer be guaranteed. They would be at the whim of our domestic politics and politicians. And let's be honest here, some of the MPs in the House of Commons support our right at work, but some don't. Do we really want to risk our rights at work by removing the protections afforded to us by our membership of the European Union? So I would urge you, as you factor in all the different things and all the different bits of information and different facts and alleged facts that people are throwing at us as we prepare to make our decisions, to consider how best to protect and defend our rights at work. And I would say that the best way to do that is by voting for us to remain in the EU and voting Remain on June 23rd. As regular viewers of these videos will know, we have a little section which I've now named Ask Mathew, which is where viewers send in their questions for me to try and answer. If you'd like to leave me one in the comments below, polite please, then do feel free to do so. I've had one from Alex in Swindon who asks, what can be done, what can we do to end child poverty? He says, I ask not because it's in the news, but because it should be. Well, Alex, I entirely agree. This is one of those issues that should be leading the news every day, but sadly doesn't. What I'm going to do is, for the next video, in hopefully about a month's time, I'm going to make that, answering that, the primary focus of my video, because I think to try and give some off-the-cuff answer now would not be of much help, and I think it's a really important issue. And again, another of the reasons why I came into politics is to do my little bit to play my part in ending poverty, and of course poverty for children especially. So I'll give that one a fuller answer next month. I've also got a question from Rob in Bristol who asks, should Lib Dems, Labour and Greens ever stand down for each other in order to keep out the Tories, and would it work in practice? Well, I'm going to give my personal view here, not the view of my political party, the Liberal Democrats, but my personal view is that I think a case can be made for progressive parties to form an alliance, be it a formal one or an informal one, where in constituencies where it's palpably obvious that the left vote, the progressive vote, the social democratic vote is being split, that actually parties who are causing that, third and fourth parties who are causing that split and who don't really stand a chance of winning themselves, but who then stop other progressives from winning, should consider standing down. Now that's going to be hugely controversial in political parties, including my own, but I also think that, if we're not to have a situation where the Tories are in charge for decades to come possibly, with virtually no progressive governments, in there in the House of Commons at all to fight for those that only progressives can, then I think we do need to see some kind of progressive alliance. So I believe that progressive parties do need to work together if we're not to see Conservative rule in perpetuity. And so I think whether our leaders of the progressive parties like it or not, and some do and some don't, we do need to see talks being held about discussing if there's any way whereby progressive parties can stand down in certain constituencies to allow other progressives to stand. That's it for this month. Don't forget to get in contact, and I hope to see you next month. Goodbye.